Are you thinking about starting a nonprofit or becoming a social entrepreneur and you just aren't really sure where to get started or how to do things or if you should go one route or the other? I get a lot of questions like this inside of my Unleash Your Profit course. And when people are debating as to whether they should start a nonprofit or a for-profit. So I just wanted to put all of this in one video, combine it with my 10 years as a sustainably built nonprofit. And I want to show you guys really what the possibilities are for you and just some things to keep in mind while you're deciding which direction you should go. So if you're new to my channel, my name is Ashlee Tate and I teach creatives, entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, change makers, and small business owners how to use personal branding strategies so that they can design a life and business that they love, one that is filled with intention, and it's what you crave. It's what you crave. We need it. Everybody needs it. So one of the things I want to start with on this is just the fact that you are considering starting a business that has social impact involved is huge, and it's remarkable, and you are remarkable for that. I just want to say that because I think these social impact businesses and these ideas of building businesses with social impact, they are picking up, and I'm happy to see that, but they haven't quite hit mainstream where it's like, this is just what business should be. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a couple of options, plus a few pieces of advice, and hopefully it helps you make a decision that is going to be right for your family, your life, your business, your goals, your vision. So let's jump in. So the first thing, like I said earlier, was you need to understand your options. So it comes down to really two things when you are looking at becoming a social entrepreneur or starting some sort of social impact business. You can be income focused, where your bottom line is really where you're looking at your income and that's kind of the driving force behind what you're going to do and how you're going to make decisions. Or you can be impact focused, where that's going to be really how you make your decisions and how you determine your mission and the ways that you're going to make money and all of these things. So you have those two ways of looking at your organization. Now, whether you decide to go the for-profit route or the nonprofit route doesn't really make a difference. What happens there is a nonprofit allows you to receive donations, grants, and different ways of receiving income, and also takes away the tax status, right? So now you don't have to pay taxes on those funds. And when people donate to your program, they receive some sort of tax exemption. Now, if you are a for-profit and you still provide some sort of impact, maybe you yourself as a business owner is receiving the tax deduction, and that is your way of giving and providing impact. So there's a few different ways that can happen. Now, I do have a video for people who are thinking about doing a for-profit. There are a few different ways you can do this. If you're thinking about adding impact or social impact into your business activities, I have a video that talks about 3 different ways that you can do that. So I'm not going to focus so much on that. Today, I want to really focus on becoming a social entrepreneur and focusing on the impact side of things and just some things that you should keep in mind and think about along the way. Number one is, like I said, know your options. So first you need to know what a social entrepreneur is. And a social entrepreneur is a lot of different things. And there really is no real consensus on it. But the best one that I've heard is using entrepreneurial tactics and strategies to create an impactful business. And that is a very broad term. That term came from Andy Stoll on one of his TEDx talks. And I really enjoy using that definition because that's more of the side that I come from. You're never going to really hear me talk about grants on this channel. You're not going to hear me talk about that inside of the Unleash Your Profit course, where we do have social entrepreneurs in there trying to build a business. Because what you have to realize is when you start a nonprofit, you actually are starting a business. So you're not just starting a nonprofit and saying like, I hope people give to me, or I hope that I can make an income from getting grants. You are literally starting a business. So you need to have some business acumen or have some access to that so that you can start to use some of those strategies to build your impact business. One of the options that you have is to go a full-on nonprofit. And this would be a nonprofit that is, you may include grants, you may include like working with foundations, and you may just be donor-based. And if you would like to create something specifically that way, you can absolutely do that. I personally think it's a little bit harder, but you can absolutely do that. So their second option is creating an entrepreneurial nonprofit. And this term was coined by Nicole Motter. And I love that term as well, because basically what this is saying is, yes, you are focused on impact and your bottom line is impact. You do allow donations and you are allowing people to donate to your program. You may at some point accept a grant or two during the lifespan of your organization, but your main focus is creating some sort of entrepreneurial activity that's going to create income, but that is not the main focus. The main focus is really creating an impact, and that being the judgment of your bottom line and how well you're doing and how you're going to execute those activities. So that is a huge piece of what we do inside the Unleash Your Profit course. Since we do work with creatives, change makers, and small business owners, really it comes down to those personal business strategies that are going to help you or anyone else that's starting any sort of entrepreneurial venture really get up and running in that environment, so that someone's there coaching you along, helping you. You can have all your questions answered and things like that. So that is really not, that course is not available to people unless you have already started your nonprofit or you have your 501c3. Then I recommend people going in there. So those are basically the two different types of nonprofits. Then you can go into creating a B corporation or a benefit corporation, something like that, where you may be a for-profit, but your main focus is more on impact rather than on income, a state verified type of impact organization. So that might be something that you're interested in looking into as well. I know that that's a little bit more like an LLC, and you are considered a for-profit entity, so you cannot receive donations necessarily to your organization, but your organization is now known as an impact-focused for-profit organization. The next one is becoming a for-profit and then using your funds for social good, like using your revenue and donating it to something and using that as social good. So there are lots of different ways. There's a whole spectrum, and you just have to figure out what works best for you. Now that brings me into my second tip. So when I started my nonprofit, one of the things I was encouraged to do quite often was to get grants, apply over here to see if you can apply for this grant. Why don't you try to add after school programs? Why don't you try to do all these things? And when you are starting out, whether it's your own business, for-profit, nonprofit, whatever it is, when you're starting out, people are going to have a lot of ideas for you. And you have got to understand your boundaries, your own personal boundaries, and your own vision of what you see for your organization. And the reason I say this is because I knew that I did not want to be out begging for donations. I didn't want people to feel like I was hounding them. I didn't want to do a lot of the traditional things that you would do in a nonprofit. Coming from an entrepreneurial side, I knew that I wanted to create something that allowed people the ability to come in and find their own kids that they wanted to donate to or support. They could do it as often or as little as they wanted. And I would figure out a way to pay for admin from some sort of entrepreneurial activity or something creative, innovative, something like that. So that's how my nonprofit was set up. So my nonprofit is really set up where all of the admin fees will come from either a fee from the amount paid as a donor, just because we still have to do work on the back end, or it comes from an event that I've created. And everyone knows who comes to that event that's what pays for our admin fees for the year. And that's how I was able to hire someone and basically create a team so that we can keep the organization going and move from there. Know your boundaries. The other piece of knowing that boundary is also understanding how much time you have to give, how much time you want to devote to it, how involved you want to be at every step, and really looking at this like, does this make sense for me to do if I set it up like this? So basically you're setting up a sustainable process to make the mission happen, and to make the income come in? Is it sustainable? Always ask yourself that when you are looking at creating and starting your nonprofit and looking at your boundaries and all of that. So that's really important. Talk to people in your community. I know a lot of people want to keep it to themselves. They want to not share it right away, all these things. But find people that you trust, or find people that are in the community that are already doing something similar. Go check out where the gaps are. Like, try to find out, just like you would any other business, try to find out where the gaps are amongst what we would call your competitors, which in the nonprofit space and in the social impact space, it's not really, you're not a competitor. Like, you guys are all working towards the greater good. Don't let people tell you that what you're doing isn't possible, okay? Now, I say that with a caveat because some things are possible, but they're gonna be really difficult. And so if people are giving you ways to make things easier or better, and it's still in the vein of your vision, take that into account, think about it, talk to your board about it, talk to people you trust about it, and then go from there and make the decision. And I'll talk about that a little bit later as well, a little more in depth. Don't let people talk you out of your dream of creating whatever this is until you've actually tried it and it just didn't work. So you can also give yourself like a deadline, and I gave myself a deadline, like if my organization is not sustainable at the 10-year mark, which is where we are now, or we will be in January, if your nonprofit is not sustainable in 10 years, then you need to shut it down. And so we made that goal. We are sustainable, and so I won't be shutting it down. but if I made that goal and I said I'm going to give myself this amount of time to see if I can make it sustainable, then do that. And a lot of people do that with businesses. If I can't make money in this business within 5 years, then I'm going to close the business, or whatever the case. But give yourself time to see if this is actually going to work, and let yourself see that through until the end of that time frame, and then make a decision as to whether you're going to keep it or close it. A key piece for me when I was moving from a fiscal sponsor into a full-fledged nonprofit, I made a presentation to some community members that I trusted and that I really wanted their opinion from about the organization, to see, is this going to work in our community? Do you guys think this is necessary? Do we need it? Does it resonate with you? What do you see that needs to be fixed, or that I can change, or that I'm missing? And really rope in your community and get some buy-in from people that you do trust, that you respect, people that have supported you throughout the beginning of your journey. These things are really important because that will allow you to start with some buy-in already. So when you try to start an organization and you don't have a lot of buy-in, there's just an uphill battle trying to get people to understand what it is that you do, who you are, why you started it, who it helps, all of the things. So this is just a big boon to your personal brand when you're starting, and also your business brand. So do not let this part go. Like, even if you've already started your nonprofit, or you started a social enterprise, or starting your entrepreneurship journey, whatever it is, present it to some people. Even if it's just a few people at your home, or you rent a space and you do a full-on presentation, doesn't really matter how you do it, but get some buy-in, get some feedback from people in your community that you actually trust, and then go from there. Because that'll give you time to kind of decide, like, okay, I need to shift this, or people didn't really understand when I said these things. When I was first starting out, I was using the term micro philanthropy, and people weren't really understanding exactly what that meant. And so since I understood that, then I changed my mission to just say one-to-one giving, rather than trying to make people understand micro philanthropy. So there will be things that you're trying to say and how you're trying to express yourself that will be much easier if people just could tell you, like, that made no sense to me. I have no understanding of what you're talking about. So go do a presentation to your community first, and then move on from there. Now, this is something I tell my students often, because when they're in there, they're actually trying to build a brand and they're trying to create a strategy. And one of the things that I find that would be so helpful to so many of you is to get the emails first. So start getting those emails from people. Then when you get your email system set up, you've already got emails that you can use to say, hey, I have launched and here's what I'm doing. Here's where we need donations. Here's how you can help. Here's how you can share it. All the things, right? Here's my new social handle. It just really eliminates a lot of the work to build that brand, when you already start attracting people and getting their emails. So one of the things I say on that is, if you're talking to someone about your business and they say, oh my gosh, I really love that, I love what you're doing, you say, okay, great, let me have your email and I will put you on an email list once we're ready to hit the ground running, or once we've decided to create whatever it is. Use that to your advantage. When people are talking to you, remember to grab their emails. It's a huge piece. If you end up joining the Unleash Your Profit course, you're going to hear me say that multiple times to lots of different people. It is such a key piece of the strategy that I don't think it can be missed. And this is just to give you a leg up so you can start doing it early before you actually officially start your business. Even if you're like, sorry, I just have to add this. Even if you're like a couple of years out and you think you might want to start a business, when you talk to people about your business, start capturing those emails and just have a place on your phone where you leave all those emails. Then when you're ready to launch, you have a place to say, hey, I've already got like a database of people that I can start emailing and sharing what I'm talking about and why it's important. I'm not saying that you have to start a whole email marketing system right this moment. I'm just saying grab the emails, okay? Because that may not come back around again, where you can actually ask them for their emails, because what if you're on a plane and someone says something, right? You can just get their email and then you can keep talking to them over time. A little controversial, but this is truly how I believe. Do not start your venture, whatever it is, and rely on grants. Do not rely on grants. Grants are so few and far in between, and they take a lot of your time to find grants that you can apply for, to find grants that fit your organization or that your organization fits perfectly. And it's a huge competitive market. Now, with that being said, if you have someone on your team who can write grants and they can devote that time, great. But I think you're much better off finding an income producing activity and using that as a way to bring in funds in a way that's basically authentic and easy to, for people to give. It makes it easy for them. We want to lower that barrier, right? So find a way that will create income that makes your donors happy and that they want to do, and that supports your organization. Because the build it and they will come, that just does not work. It's an old way of thinking about social impact. It's an old way of thinking about getting donations, and it's just not good. So just don't do it. Find an income producing activity and use that. Okay, this is a big one. Learn to delegate. When you start your nonprofit, you are going to think of this as your baby, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I can do everything and I love everything and only I know how to do this the right way, blah, blah, blah. It's just not true. You don't need to do everything. You need to learn how to delegate. And if it's hard for you to delegate, just be honest with yourself. Know that about yourself. It's okay. But realize that it is also something that you need to give little baby things to, right? So, and I'm not talking about delegate to your board. I didn't even add that one on here, but working boards are a no go. And if you've seen my video, I probably already know I feel that way, but working boards are a no-go. And that's not who I'm talking about delegating to. I'm talking about delegating to maybe an intern, delegating to someone who says, yes, I want to help you, like a volunteer. Just learning how to delegate, finding apps or finding things that are going to make your job easier, or finding Upwork or Fiverr. You are literally starting a business. And sometimes when you have a business, often most times actually, when you're starting a business, you have to delegate, right? So whether you hire someone to do your copywriting, or you hire someone to do your social media, or you hire someone to help you, anything, whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to need people, you're going to need help. Sometimes you can get that done for free, and that's great. And I would always take free over paid, unless it's a job that requires good talent and you need to you need to pay for it. So whatever that is, like if it's creating graphics or your logo or whatever it is, these are things that you will still need to pay and do and delegate. So just remember that you will be delegating. You need to learn how to delegate. That's huge. Okay, now number 10, it's going to save you from feeling like you're failing from feeling like things aren't going the way you thought. Number 10 is all about being prepared to pivot. Now, you're gonna start your organization, you're gonna start your business, everybody does, and you have an idea of what you want to start. But as you get more information, that idea may shift and it may change because now you're getting more information. Now you understand that this possibly is not going to fit into the puzzle like you were hoping, and maybe you need to go a different route. So what's important here is to make sure that you understand your core values that are most important to you as a business owner and most important to you as, in relation to the impact that you're going to create and how you want to create it. And then look at how you can pivot your organization or your business to work around whatever the missing puzzle piece was. Because I guarantee you, you're starting something new that no one's ever probably done before, because this is, again, it's innovative when you're trying to create income from making an impact, right? And so a lot of times you're going to be the first, and that's a great thing. It's remarkable. That's why I call you guys remarkable, because it really is remarkable. It's innovative. It's all these things. But the most important thing you have to do is realize that you may need to pivot or shift to make your mission work. So that's why I say focus on your core mission, focus on your core values, and focus on what is most important to you. Try very hard not to be stubborn. And when you make these decisions on your organization, try to have like some right-hand people. Like my right-hand people are my board. And so every decision that I feel like I need to make, I really rely on my board to help me make those decisions because I trust them. And I know that they also have a good mission forward, and they know what we're trying to do. And it's really nice when you can depend on your board. But if you can't depend on your board right now, and that needs to change or something, then ask someone else in your life that you trust, that you feel gives sound advice. And before you make those drastic decisions, or you make any decisions really on the organization, think about how it's going to affect the people that you're trying to help. Think about how it's going to affect the impact that you're trying to make. And think about how you are going to be involved in this and how it affects your core values. So that's really all I have for today. I really hope this helps. I just wanted to give some of you the entrepreneurial advice I would give to any business owner, but I wanted to really focus it on creating whatever type of social enterprise that you're thinking about and that you are interested in, because it really is so important to do all 10 of these things. If you're interested in working with me, I do have all of that information on my website. I do customized one-on-one sessions with people. If you want to talk directly about your specific thought process or what you're kind of worried about and you want to work through that, I love doing that. And then we also have the tribe, which is completely free, and you just get your invitation from my website, ashleetate.com. And then we also have the Unleash Your Profit course, which is for business owners who are already either a 501c3 or you've already started your business and you already know which direction you're going. That's what that course is for, and we really work on developing your personal branding strategies so that you can build that business. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go check out all of the ways that we can work together on ashleetate.com. And I really hope this video helped you. I would love to know which tip was kind of an aha moment for you, more so than anything else. And I will see you next week. Bye.